All right, you guys, happy Sunday. Thank you so much for taking your time to be on here. I wanted to rally as a group of badasses that are now finished, wrapped up, day 14, week 2 of 8-day obsession. Some of you guys, I don't know if there's anyone on that is looking to be in wave 2. If you are, I would love for you to raise your hand. You can say something in the comment box or pop on towards the end and just tell us, you'll get a lot of information, I think, if you are listening and wanting to be a part of wave 2, which, by the way, it's probably going to start February 12th. I'm hoping they get their stuff sorted out with shipping. So I do want to address that, okay, because I think that's a big elephant in the room. But here's a couple things that I want to address tonight before I get too carried away. I just want to post here. I'm live now, ladies. If you guys are on, I'm just going to mute everyone just so the background noise is. Hello, Melinda. Do you have blue hair? Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. Look at you.
I'm like a sprite.
I love it. I don't know what happened to my messenger. Hold on. I was just going to put on our thread that I'm live in case anybody forgot. Okay. Sorry, we're recording and that's such a waste of time. So, okay. Here's what I want to talk about and also have question and answers. I know Melinda's got a form and technique question, so I will address that in my jeans for you guys. But here's what I want to cover. So I'm in the test group for this group that Autumn is taking a bunch of us coaches through, and I know that a handful of you guys are in there. Melinda's in there, right? Are you in there? Yep. I know that Mandy's in there. So there's a couple of you, and so this might be kind of review, but I think it's really important, and I want you guys to feel like you can ask questions in this kind of smaller forum. But I want to talk about the scale and when to weigh, how often to weigh, the kind of the mindset that it has behind it, the science behind the containers, self-care, and obviously any Q&As that you guys have. So any questions you have about the program, where you're at, anything that we can do to tweak where you need to go going forward into week 3. So hands down, I hope you guys are watching Weekly Obsession. It is really neat to kind of see the behind the scenes and also how the cast is doing going through the program, because they're going through it the very same time as filming. So that's kind of the cool part about it. Also, she also gives some talk about what to expect going into week 3 and how your body's going to respond and all that kind of stuff. So it is 15 minutes, but just go and take the time to watch those. I've gotten a lot of value out of them. But I wanted to address the elephant in the room in regards to equipment, because there's some that have not gotten their equipment yet. Like, oh my God, it's so embarrassing, but I wish I had control over it. I don't. So if you are looking to do wave 2, I'm hoping that they're going to get their rear end gear and get the shipping on point. A lot of you guys already have it, so you're probably like, doesn't even really affect me, but I wanted to address it. If you are doing 80-day obsession or waiting to start it, please send me a message so I can help find out where your stuff is, because it is pissing me off. I know this stuff happens, and you know what? It should never. It's annoying, but trust, we'll make sure that we make it right, okay? So let's talk about the scale. Autumn goes live every day and shares, nuggets about the program and what people are talking about. So, you know what? Before I go into that, I wanted to make sure. Let me answer your guys' questions, because there might some that come up, but I also know if you guys got places to go, I don't want to wait leaving you on until the very end to ask questions. So, Melinda, I know you had one girlfriend. So what was your question?
Okay, I have 2. So I'm going to have to do it so you can understand. Oh, let's see if I can put this on the floor and tell you.
Don't let it rip out of your earbuds.
So on the cardio days, we go from this, and it's this thing. It's the slide through. You kick your leg through. The hell am I focusing on? Because I'm trying not to break a wrist. So am I supposed to be like, is that ab? Am I supposed to be more planky, or am I supposed to be more bit knees? Because all I'm doing is throwing my body through. And I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be some kind of muscles involved. So I'm curious what I'm supposed to be focusing on, because all I'm doing is just sliding my leg through and trying to keep up.
I think that is such a good question, because it took me a couple times to get that move down, and cardio flow is no joke. I mean, that second week, you like Saturday yesterday, it flew by. So the problem with that is it picks up the speed, and it also could throw your form off. So form and technique is so important, whatever move. So scale yourself as you need. With that move in particular, you are using your shoulders to stabilize, and let me see if I can get into position without, there, I think I should see it okay. And I'm in jeans too. Can you guys see me okay? I hope somebody gets a screenshot of this. This is great. So when we come out of what? The gorilla walk, right?
Yeah, also, you can go ahead and talk about that. That is core and quads, I guess.
This is basically everything, because you're in a low squat, coming down to the ground. You got to use your shoulders, right? And if you're not going down to the ground, you're just doing this, right? So you're using all quads and core to keep yourself stabilized in this lower position, okay? So when you go from the gorilla walk into this kick through that Melinda was talking about, you're here starting out. Give yourself a second to get into position and be right here, right? So you're in that bear stance, right? So knees should be right underneath your hips, wrists underneath your shoulders. So this is one option. Doing this, center, this. It's all obliques and shoulders, because you have to use your shoulders to basically stop your body. And you got to make sure you're not coming out here, leaning out here, or out here when you're doing those kick throughs, right? So the kick through is really fast. So she's like this and jumping from side to side. So what you have to make sure you're aware of is, where is your joints? Are they stacked?
Okay.
Right? On top of each other, because you're using your core to kick through each time, right? So I can feel it all in my obliques and shoulders.
Okay.
That makes sense?
It does. I think I'm trying to turn like all the way upside down, or do you know how you do in yoga when you flip the dog, you go all the way? And I think that I'm taking too much time. Like, you just need to kick through oblique. Just saying the obliques thing though, that'll help, because I have like a maniac about focusing on what I'm supposed to be focusing on. So that helps.
Yeah. And I don't think she addresses the actual muscle groups at that point, right? Because you're really kind of doing the moves. But it is a lot of obliques and shoulders.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but slow it down and pause for a second in the middle, so you don't have to hop back and forth if you're not ready for it.
Okay.
That's what James does. Any other questions? I wanted to answer. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, especially the shoulder, hand under the shoulder thing, because I don't even know what I was doing. I was trying to keep up, and it was like I just wasn't. It's better now. Thank you.
I am, when I teach my classes and I do a lot of plank and bear stance type stuff, I'm very, very almost annoyingly critical about form. And whenever you're doing planks or any basically parallel to the ground type of work, your wrists always want to be underneath your shoulders. And if you have wrist issues, get dumbbells, and then you can, have your wrists neutralized. I know I was telling Britt, because she was having some issues with her wrist too. I forget what the brand is, but they're on Amazon, and you can get wrist wraps. They're kind of compression. I used to use them for CrossFit because anytime I would put too much weight back here, it would just really aggravate. And a lot of plank work and push-ups, obviously in this program, get those wrist wraps, and they are compression, and you can actually change. You can tighten them. They're Velcro. You can tighten them too, so they'll put the right amount of pressure on the tendons and the joints that are feeling fatigued probably and feeling strained. But also going up on your fists or on dumbbells or
Okay.
hands.
Yeah, I'll maybe do because I've never had wrist issues, but this particular program seems to they're tired a lot, or whatever we're doing. They seem to bug me right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
thank you.
But you know what? Just afterwards, spend time doing this, stretching them out. These are really great stretches, and pulling the hand towards your forearm, they'll build strength and they'll feel better. Like I just remember being a gymnast, mine would fatigue really, really easily. But by stretching them out, you start to elongate those little muscles and those tendons there, and they'll start to feel a little stronger. Any other questions right now? I think most of you guys are muted, but if you do have a question, you can either hop on the chat. I love that so many of you guys are on. This is so amazing. Hop on the chat or unmute yourself. I wanted it to be conversational, but I did want to bring you guys the value that I promised I would from being a part of the test group with Autumn. She goes live constantly in there. Today she had a really great live video, and I wanted to talk about that really quick, okay? Unless somebody has a question that is searing in their brain that they need to get out. No? Okay. The scale, right? Everybody's probably feeling pretty amazing, right? Week 2. Everybody's feeling amazing because your energy's probably up. You're probably seeing strength in moves. As you repeat them, you're going deeper in the push-up, heavier with your squats. You're just kind of getting it, you know, because now it's not the first time you've ever done that move. So your confidence is naturally going to boost as well. You probably are seeing physical changes when you look in the mirror, when you put your clothes on. I mean, I love getting the messages from you guys that are like, oh my God, I'm like 1 belt loop. Tracy said she's 1 belt loop tighter in her pants. Tiana, one of my girlfriends, she's like, I slipped on a pair of skinny jeans that were just a little bit snug, and this was week 1, and she's like, they just like went on beautifully. So you're gonna see a change physically, but also mentally. But the scale is what the scary part is for a lot of people. Some people are super stoked and they're like, I'm gonna jump on the scale, and they're like, woo, I lost 4 pounds. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Other people are like, ugh, I only lost a pound. Others, probably like me, because I have not stepped on the scale, I won't see a change but on the scale, like I won't see that number likely change, but I will see a change in my measurements and physical photos. So if you don't get a complex from using the scale, by all means, general recommendation is to measure and weigh every 30 days, and that includes taking before pictures. That's front, side, back, right? Do the photos every week if you want, but you have to know where your comfort zone is, because if you get yourself worked up to the point where you don't look like so-and-so yet, or you don't look like her yet, and you're kind of beating yourself up, it's not working, right? Everybody's going to have a different starting place and an end place. Autumn talks specifically about a coach who is a plus size coach of ours, and she changed maybe 3 pounds on the scale. But when you look at her, she looks like she lost 30 pounds. She lost a heap of inches. She gained incredible amount of lean muscle, right? They all say muscle weighs more than fat, but as Autumn said today in her live video, like weight is weight, right? But you're changing the composition of your body. And so you're building lean, strong muscle, and you're dropping body fat. But that doesn't necessarily mean the number on the scale is going to change. So you have to go into those measurements and that scale stepping action kind of prepared for that. And if it doesn't bother you or if it motivates you, then awesome, right? Like that's great. I don't like stepping on the scale more than every 30 days. Now, when you do step on the scale next, make sure that it is the same time of day each time you do it. Meaning, if you do it every 30 days, then make sure it's every Monday of day 31. For me, I weigh on Monday morning after I've gone to the bathroom and before I put my workout clothes on, because that's the true state of what your body's composition is at. Because when you work out, or say you have your pre-workout and then you go work out, right? Then you've got more blood volume, right? And also you have more fluid in more fluid in your body. You're carrying more water weight because your body's trying to start processing and heal those little micro tears that you're experiencing from that day's work, right? So the scale's not going to be an accurate reflection of what your true, body weight's at. She said even a rest day, like when you're not doing anything extensive, it's an okay time to do it. I don't like to do it on Sunday. I don't know. I'm weird. I like to do it Monday. Okay. Sorry, there's a couple questions that came on here. Someone hasn't started anything. You recommend a 3-day refresh before they start. Any tips for someone who has trouble completing programs, especially if they've never done a program this long? Can you talk about the Edge of Beach Body supplements? Yes, great. I just got a question from Jennifer. So Jennifer, hang tight. I'm definitely going to remark to that if you don't mind. Just let me. I want to finish these points here. So don't let the scale, define where you guys are at. Okay. Don't let the scale define. Don't let the scale define where you're at 2 weeks in. We're 2 weeks in. That's it. We have a long way to go. So again, just keep pushing it. Trust the process, which gets me to the science behind the containers. She talked about this, I think, earlier on last week, and why they were grouped with that workout block, and why they're grouped with meal options following that workout block, and why not to move the containers around, but the blocks. Because each block, if you will, was created to give you the accurate macros that you need in a meal. So every meal should have a proper balance of protein, fats, and carbohydrates, right? And you're gonna get carbohydrates from, you're gonna get them from grains, whether you decide to have bread or you decide to have brown rice, white rice, quinoa, millet, amaranth, whatever was on your list, right? I'm on the vegan one, so I have an A and a B. So your carbohydrates, obviously that's where a bulk of carbohydrates come from. But you also get carbohydrates from your veggies, which is why there's generally a veggie in probably every single block, which might make you kind of sick to your stomach, which if it's too much for you guys to have that, consider the Power Greens, which is a boost from one of the supplements. I actually just got it because I'm like, I just need a break from like sauteing them and eating them raw. I just need a break. So I got the greens so I can just shake it up and drink it. It's nothing fancy. It's not like it's dessert. It's just greens. So consider getting those Power Greens. I think they're great. They serve its purpose. But the blocks were created, again, to give you the accurate macros that you need pre-workout, post-workout meal, all that kind of stuff. So she doesn't want you to move containers because you'll throw off that macro count. Does that kind of make sense? So there's a balance of healthy fats. We have our blue, which is always going to be a healthy fat, whether you choose avocado, cheese, hummus, olives, whatever. Or I think olives are out of orange, actually, so cut that part off. But then the orange, you've got seeds, you've got the olives. I mean, I can't think of the list off the top of my head, but that's a fat. And then, of course, the teaspoons. So there's one of those in basically every block, no matter what block you're doing. You might have one that you don't have either of them because you're getting that macro sense at some point. So just don't move those blocks around in this program. Now, 21-day fix, using the portion fix containers, you can switch them around because there's no real, it's not as an intense workout, right? 21-day fix extreme, a little bit, but you can still do the containers, just fulfilling those containers throughout the day and make it your own. She does have a more intense meal plan for the Fix Extreme program. So she's got a countdown to competition one. So that uses a little bit more similar to this meal plan that we're doing with 80-day obsession, okay? But it's just really important that you keep those containers. Hopefully you guys haven't messed around with them, but you keep those in the blocks. But move the blocks of the meal options around as you need, but just don't move any of the blocks within that workout block. I just used block like probably 20 times in like less than a minute. We should have put some money on it. So hopefully that makes sense on the containers, okay? Now, let me address Jennifer's question. She said, I haven't started 80-day obsession. Jennifer, are you doing it? Are you going to do it as part of wave 2, or are you waiting for your stuff to arrive and you want to know when you should start? Let me know on chat, but I'll respond to your question really quick. if you haven't done 80-day obsession and you're waiting to start, you absolutely can do the 3-day refresh. That was her question, is if you could do the 3-day refresh. Before they start, if they're interested in doing it, you can do it, absolutely. Don't do it during the 80-day obsession. Your body will completely bonk. And that's just the calorie deficit on 3-day refresh does not match a program like 80-day obsession. So yes, do it before. I wouldn't even necessarily recommend doing it within the last, even like the after 80-day obsession, with that first window, that week of window, because your body's still going to be on overdrive, right? And some of us are going to roll right into phase 2 or into round 2. So 3-day refresh is absolutely great. Now the supplements is the Beachbody Recover is intended for post-workout. I've been using it even though I am following more of the vegan plan. I am mostly plant-based, even though I do have eggs and I have the Recover. I'm drinking the Recover because I committed to following the plan as designed, and I'm so glad I'm using the Recover because my muscle soreness is like off the charts. But I'm the weird one. Like, I love that feeling. If I don't feel something the next day, I'm like, I didn't work hard enough. And I know that if I didn't, I know that I might have to change my, getting deeper in the lunge. That means I might need to drop the weight just so I can get lower, which is going to fire, a different muscle group because I'm not relying on my biggest muscle, my quad, in the lunge. I might actually recruit a smaller glute muscle, right? If I am able to go deeper in the lunge because I lightened up my load. So those are all things I'm going to be playing with a little bit next week. But the Recover Shake has been amazing for that. Has the branched chain amino acids, which is really, really important when you're doing a more intensive program. Energize is a staple for me pre-workout. I eat my meal, have my Energize, and then go right into the workout. So I hope that answers your question.
Do you use the Recover as the post-workout snack, or a Recover post-workout snack and then a meal?
I do it as a post-workout snack, and I have half a banana, the Recover, and I add a teaspoon of nut butter. And I blend.
Okay, so oh my God, am I doing this wrong? I'm using the Shakeology as the post-workout snack.
But you're vegan. You're following the vegan one.
Right, but that's still all right?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, because I was like, I'm 2 weeks into that. I've been screwing up for 2 weeks then. Okay.
So those, let me address that then. Those that can't use the Recover because it has dairy and is following a strict vegan. There is Donald in the cast that was a strict vegan. He did not use the Recover. He used Shakeology in that place. So does that mean you can have 2 shakes a day? Yes, it does. Your body can utilize those nutrients to the point where it doesn't necessarily get wasted. Sometimes if you nutritize, that's not even a word. If you have too many vitamins and minerals in your body, sometimes your body just washes them away because it just can't absorb them fast enough, right? So you just want to maybe not make it a practice of having Shakeology every day. That and you would go through it so quickly, right? I mean, you'd be done with your bag in 15 days. But hey, maybe you want to get 6 bags coming to you a month, and that's A-okay too. But you certainly could do Shakeology as your post-workout. And let's see. Hopefully that I don't take the recharge at night, and I don't drink the hydrate. I didn't like the hydrate. It wasn't my jam, and I don't drink the recharge because I just didn't want to have that extra whey. So that's just personal. And I'm done eating at dinner. I don't have a meal afterwards. I get all my meals in right within 4 o'clock in the morning to about 6:30 at night. So I get all my meals. I just don't have anything left over, and I don't really need it. If I need anything, I'll have some tea. Okay. Again, if you guys have questions, keep firing them. I'm seeing some of them. Britt is answering. She definitely recommends the SUPs, which is awesome. Her muscle soreness has been great, and she answered Jennifer's question, so great. With self-care, I hope you guys are taking the time to practice self-care, and that can be a medley of whatever. Like, I went and got my nails and my toes done, literally right after I went to the aquarium with the kids, and that is a necessity for me to have that time to myself. Okay. But also I do thrive on My self-care are these workouts. I love getting up and doing them. I don't love getting them up. That's a lie. But I do enjoy getting them done in the morning, because then it does not disrupt my day. And when the kids are home and having to like try and keep the little girls distracted when I'm like, I just want to work out, like I get more angry. So that's a self-care example for me. Sitting down and reading a book, having a bath, getting Epsom salts in that bath to just really help draw any of the toxins out, help soreness, and just help your body relax. Meditating, reading a book, going for a walk, independent date nights, like going out by yourself, or something that just allows you to decompress from life, and really practice love on yourself. This is about being obsessed with ourselves, you guys. I had a really hard time getting that word obsessed out of my mouth, because I didn't want to have a bad connotation to what it was supposed to mean, So we're trying to get obsessed with ourselves again and be proud of who we are, proud of what we accomplished, instead of feeling guilty that we're spending an hour working out. And a lot of you guys don't want to get up, and that's fine. And you have to do it after work, or you do it when the baby's napping, or you do it when your kids are around. That's great, right? I mean, like, how cool is that for your kids to see you working out? My kids will do it with me. You guys probably saw my Instagram. My daughter wanted to use the sliders, and so I was teaching her how to do that pike move, and she was actually pretty good at it. But they see you, right? And you're modeling the behaviors that they need to start learning for themselves. They need to know the value and importance of working out. They need to know the value and importance of nutrition, and they need to know the value and importance of self-care and why we should be confident in ourselves. So I wanted to segue that in a little bit to the nutrition piece, which I meant to talk about it in the science. I firmly believe, and Autumn talked about it, so I'm going to blame her. I firmly believe that if you have children that are at the age of recognizing food and having an opinion about it, aside from, 1, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, they're kind of loose cannons. I get that. And my 2-year-old like barely eats dinner. But I put in front of them what we're eating. I don't make multiple meals anymore. I don't. It was too stressful, and it's worth, and now they know, like, that's what's for dinner. I'm not going to make you mac and cheese. I'm not going to go put some chicken tenders in the oven. I don't buy that stuff. What we have to start putting our foot in the ground when it comes to our family is that if it's not healthy for us to eat, why is it healthy for our kids? And she said that, and it was like, oh my God. I've been, and I say that a lot, and I tell my clients and other customers I work outside of this program with, is that you've got to start teaching your children how to make proper selections with their food, and make them aware of why you're eating what you're eating and why mommy's not on a diet. We are doing this as a family. We are eating this way. Let them choose what, let them be a part of it, right? So I just wanted to kind of reiterate that, because I think it's so important for children to be involved. My daughter, actually, you guys probably know this already, but my daughter was talking to her friend at school, which her mom, Claudine, is in our little Success Club pod, our 80-day obsession pod. And they were talking about it at school. And she's like, yeah, I started doing the 21-day fix eating containers because my mom's doing that a little obsessed, like the 80-day obsession with your mom. And I was so moved that they had a conversation, you guys. They're in 6th grade. And I asked her what it meant. And, she knew what obsession meant. And she's like, no, not really. And I said, I want you to be in tune with the colors and eating like the rainbow. Colorful foods mean you are putting really good, dense nutrients in your body. Like, it's one thing to pick like all white foods, right? And sorry, I just got a reminder, I got 10 minutes left. But I wanted her to be prepared, and I wanted her to understand the importance of eating good food and how it's going to make her feel when she's at school, how it's going to be when she sleeps at night, how her mood is going to be, and all those things in between. So just really stressing the value of proper nutrition with our kids, regardless of what age they're at. Just make that as, even if it's a baby steps, right? Just kind of work in progress. Instead of picking out, going down the popcorn aisle and chip aisle instead of grabbing the bag of Doritos, like, just don't even go down the aisle, right? And just, if there are things that you shouldn't be eating, then encourage your family not to eat them too. It'll make the process so much easier to go through. Okay. Let's see. Any other questions, you guys, before trying to make sure I got all my notes? If you guys have questions, feel free to unmute yourself and just pop in and ask your question. I want it to be informative. I want you guys to feel like this is for you, and I'm not just talking out you guys because it's, you know, boring and lame. But with any luck, I hope you guys are super jazzed going into the program with week 3. I mean, we're not even done phase 1 yet, you guys. Jennifer's asking, any tips on sticking to a long program that is 80 days? You got to have the mindset. I mean, all these practices, I say being a part of a pod where there's other people doing the same thing. Joanne's in that pod. Melinda's in that pod. Britt's in that pod. I mean, we have like 10 people in there, and these are people that really wanted that extra accountability. And it's been so helpful for me to stay on track. Like, the weekends come and I just want to relax in my nutrition. Not necessarily eat crappy, but just relax a bit. And I haven't. And it's because I know I have to check in with these gals, and I'm so much more empowered to stick with it. Now, it's a total mindset shift, Jennifer, because we're not doing 21-day fix, right? Like, next week is not the end of the program. We still have a long ways to go. So you have to continue to set goals every single week. So whether this is, you know, a question for yourself or maybe some of your customers, because I know we have some coaches on here that are asking for their customers. But if you've got to set mini goals every single week, and you have to celebrate the ones from the week before. And maybe that is a win of sliding on those skinny jeans that didn't fit very well the week before that, right? Or taking a picture and actually like looking at it side by side going, holy crap, celebrate that. Not by going out and, you know, binging on your favorite thing, but celebrate it by sitting down and eating your block of containers with pride and ownership, right? So you just have to be in the mindset. It's 80 days. It's not 21 days. It's not 60 days. It's 80 days. It's 3 months. It is a solid 3 months, 12 weeks, any way you cut it. Okay. 80 days is because there are built-in rest days. So that's counting for 10 days of rest, basically throughout the entire program. So, I mean, it just has to be a mindset, and it has to be taken one day and 1 week and one phase at a time. And literally like set goals with your friends and the buddies that you're doing this with every single week. Like, I asked the question in my pod, like, what do you guys want to accomplish this week? I haven't asked it yet, actually. So Joanna, Britt, and Melinda, you guys be on the lookout for that. But ask questions, you know. There's been a lot of conversations going on, like, what did you make today? Or what's that? I post pictures of my food because I want to give ideas for everybody. And I love when other people post their food. It's super inspirational, but it also keeps you on point, and it keeps you empowered to keep going, right? And this is really, you guys, when things get tough, because now we're a little bit more comfortable. We're still on the same eating plan. We've kind of adjusted to this whole time nutrition thing. And that's when we want to be like, you know what? I'm doing pretty good. I think I can kind of back off. And you can't. You just can't. We decided to go all in for this program for a reason, because whatever we were doing before, whether it was just finishing, you know, 30-day programs and then moving on to another one, our diet, and I say diet meaning our nutrition, was not accompanying that in the regard that wasn't proving to give results, right? I have never done time nutrition. So it's a huge deal for me to completely overhaul my mindset and how I was eating with intermittent fasting and do this program. And I have to say, I love it. I love food, but it's humbled me to know how much my portions were off. Even eating 3 meals a day, obviously you have to get all your nutrition in 3 meals, but it's easy, those little extra things that you want to grab. And I will admit, there's a couple things that have been on my kids' plate that I've taken a bite of. It's not crappy food because they're eating what I'm eating, remember? But let's say, for instance, that you guys were like, oh my God, Terrence, not even a big deal. But calories add up. My daughter had a handful of cashews left on her plate because they love raw cashews. And she walked off, and I was clearing the table, and I like just, you know, mindlessly threw 2 in my mouth. Not a big deal, right? But those are behaviors that are so easy to make mindlessly. So I have to be that 5-second rule. Like, think of it 5 seconds before I even act on it to stop myself, because I've done it so many times. The temptation, it's not a big deal. It's healthy, right? But it's extra food that adds up over time. So you have those little tiny bites, even if they're eating what you're eating, and you're finishing off this beautiful meal that you made and you don't want them to waste it. but it's sitting on their plate. You're like, I'll just finish the last few bites because it's exactly what I ate. That could be like an extra 100 calories that day. And compound that every single, 4 or 5 times out of the week. And now you've just added an extra 700 calories in your week, right? And if you're trying to shoot for a deficit, you're going to stall and you're going to see your results slow down. So just set the intention going into each week and practice the 5-second rule. And if you guys never heard of it, go check out Mel Robbins. She's amazing. I listened to her book on audio, on Audibles, the Amazon app, but you could pick it up. But it's just the practice of the 5-second rule, especially at this point in the game, when it's easy to just kind of loosen up a bit and get relaxed with our nutrition, to set that 5-second rule. Same thing with like getting out of bed, right? Hit the snooze button. Like instead of hitting the snooze button, give yourself that 5 seconds to say, nope, I'm up, and turn it off and not snooze, right? I think I'm going to go through the drive-thru at Starbucks. 5 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nope, I'm going the other way. Just even getting a coffee, right? You don't need it. If you don't need it, it's just something you want, then don't do it. But give yourself the time to think before you actually act on it. And you'll save yourself a ton of like, oh God, I shouldn't have done that. And I know a lot of us aren't doing it, but just thinking about it as, things start to get a little bit easier with the time nutrition and how easy it is to just kind of start guessing portions and guessing. I think I got all my containers in. I think I got that block right, but still really dialing it in and being like a student, right? Just be a student and be in that mindset throughout this entire process. Be willing to be humbled, be willing to be schooled, and be willing to be coachable so you can really, really see the opportunity that is waiting for you at the end of 80 days. And you go, God damn it, I'm so proud of myself. I stuck it out and I look pretty damn good as a result. And I would never have done that if I did not stick to it. I would have just gone back to eating relatively healthy and doing the workouts. Okay, so that's really kind of all I wanted to go over with you guys. I'm so glad Melinda said, hey, can you do another live call? And I was happy to do it. Did I get every questions? Take one week at a time. Good tip. 5-second rule is the title. Yes, it is by Mel Robbins. She's a gal from New York. Robbins is her last name, and she is amazing. She was actually a featured speaker at the New Leader Conference. So for all those of us coaches, she's awesome. So go check out her book. Just think, that's just another part of self-care, is really fueling your mind with practices and principles that you want to continue and act on to be better going forward, and making it a lifestyle instead of, after this 80-day program, like it's free reign, I can go back out and socialize and happy hour and da-da-da. Like we opted out of going out last night, you guys, which is really rare for us. I love to socialize, but I wanted to sit on the couch and watch a movie. I didn't want to go out to where there was a bunch of pasta and drinking and like, I didn't want to, because I really wanted to be connected to this program and be honest to it. And that just wasn't going to put me in a good situation. So I had to know what my temptations tend to be when I'm put in that situation. So just, be mindful of it. So,
hey, Karen, my phone cut out right when you were saying you opted to not go out, and something I really wanted to hear. Can you repeat it?
Yeah. I opted to not go out and stay in and watch a movie because I just know the temptations that happen in that environment. It was a school function. It was a Italian dinner, so there's heaps of pasta and an open bar. And I just know that when I'm put in those